So are you thinking about moving to Belgrade, Montana? Maybe you're researching Montana in general and you've landed on Belgrade as an option. Well, in this video, I'm going to cover the pros and cons of Belgrade, so hopefully that will help you make your decision. Hey, welcome to Montana Life. My name's Heather. I'm a local realtor, and with this channel I strive to give you an accurate everyday picture of life in Montana so you're not caught unawares when you move here. And today we're talking about Belgrade, Montana. We'll do a quick overview, then we'll do some pros and cons and see if it might be a fit for you. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll share my favorite takeout restaurant with you and my favorite menu item because it is getting close to lunchtime and I'm kind of hungry. And I do apologize in advance, Maggie is not in this video because I had too many errands to bring her along today. So I'll make sure to include some Basset B-roll for you guys. So real quick, an overview of Belgrade. Belgrade was established in 1883 and it was a railroad town originally. Our current population is about 11,600 according to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2021. So we are situated a little bit to the north and west of the city of Bozeman, and we're actually closer to the Bozeman airport than Bozeman itself is. The Bozeman airport is located in Belgrade. I don't know why. One of the things that you'll find about Belgrade in general is that a lot of people live in Belgrade but commute to Bozeman. Okay, so now we'll get into the pros of living in Belgrade, Montana, the good things, the things I like about it. The first good thing about Belgrade is the housing prices. It's a little bit more affordable than Bozeman. Your median home price for Belgrade is about $558,000. For Bozeman, we're sitting right at about $707,000. So it's a big difference if you have a family and are trying to keep things affordable. And I'm not really a big fan of median house prices. They are a decent snapshot of the market, but what I usually actually look for is the first most affordable single family home that I can find. And then I jump up to the next new construction, single family, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage home as that, and just use that as my benchmark home price. So I've got those for you too. Okay, so just to give you some context, I did a quick MLS search and I pulled the first single family home available for sale in Bozeman, and I'm talking first in price range. So that was $599,000. That was a really small, just kind of entry-level starter home. Belgrade, on the other hand, was $440,000. So then I pulled the next kind of 3-bed, 2-bath new construction home. It had a 2-car garage, just kind of a basic starter home, but new construction. And in Bozeman, that was $675,000. And in Belgrade, that was $559,000. So that's kind of your snapshot for entry-level starter homes in Belgrade versus Bozeman. I did a quick search on Zillow just to give you a kind of a guesstimate on rental prices. There was only 9 rentals available in Belgrade, and the first one started out at $1,450 a month, and it was just a very small 2-bed, 1-bath apartment. The top end of the price range was $3,500 for a nice 4-bedroom, 3-bath single-family home. And again, for some context, I pulled Bozeman. There was 102 rental properties available, starting at $1,250 a month, and that was for a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment, very small. And then it ranged all the way up to $14,500 for a large 6-bedroom, 5-bath home in Bozeman. So a pretty big range there. Another good thing about Belgrade is that it has most everything that you're going to need on a day-to-day basis. And while a lot of people do commute to Bozeman for work and groceries because they have the big chain stores, Belgrade certainly has a lot to offer. We have 2 grocery stores. There's quite a few restaurants, a couple of fast food options. There's a feed store, hardware store, eye doctor, dentist, all kinds of things like that. Quite a bit of variety, and there's a lot of construction companies that are based out of Belgrade as well. And a really nice big sports event center. There's public schools, private schools, a Catholic school, and Montessori. And another nice thing that you could put probably either in the pros or the cons, depending on how you felt about it, was the airport being this close to town. Maybe you work from home and you have to fly out for meetings and whatnot. It probably would be an advantage to you to live in Belgrade versus Bozeman in that situation. And this next fact, according to who you are, may either go in the pros or the cons category, but I did a quick Google search and the number of churches in town definitely outweighs the number of bars. Some small Montana towns, those are pretty much split equally, but in Belgrade there's quite a few more churches than there are bars. So there are lots of other good things about Belgrade, but the last one that I'll mention here is it still has a small town feel a little bit. odds of you running into somebody that you know at the grocery store or at the feed store or the hardware store are really pretty high. Okay, so now we'll talk about a few of the negative things about Belgrade. I would say probably one of the biggest things is just it's had some growing pains over the last few years. The population has increased so fast and so drastically that the infrastructure I don't feel like has quite kept up with all of the construction that's happened around here. And you can see that with a couple of other things that I'll talk about in a minute. But it's gone really fast. I remember riding my horses in a couple of places that are now 2 separate subdivisions. Housing prices have gone up pretty drastically. They're still not nearly to Bozeman levels, but they've certainly increased drastically along with property taxes and everything like that. Okay, another thing is that Belgrade is a railroad town. So the railroad splits right through the middle of town. And it's also right next to the airport, so there's a little bit of noise pollution with that, but it's kind of everybody's in the same boat in Belgrade. You just kind of get used to it and expect it. But traffic is probably the next worst thing I would say about Belgrade. Again, the infrastructure and draining of all these big subdivisions, I don't think has really kept up with the amount of construction that's happened here. There are currently 3 crossings over the tracks, and only 1 is an underpass, and that's kind of out on the east side of town by the airport. But the good news is there's another underpass in the works, and that should help quite a bit with the flow of traffic in the near future. And I have linked a news article with information about that project in the description. Certainly the city planners are doing everything they can to help mitigate the situation, but you still, depending on where you're at in Belgrade, you may have a little bit of a wait, especially if you catch a train during rush hour. And in the pros category, there's most everything you need in town for necessities, but there's not a lot of extra shops like clothing shops, shopping, boutiques, specialty stores, that kind of thing. We also don't have a theater or a pool. We do have a nice splash park here. I would say all in all that Belgrade is a nice little town that has most everything you need, and it's nearby to Bozeman. It has all the other amenities that you could possibly want. So it might be a good in-between area for you to settle in. Hope that helped you out a little bit with information about Belgrade, Montana. And if you're considering moving here or to Bozeman or the surrounding area, I'm happy to help you out, and my contact information is in the description below. And with that being said, now we're going to go check out my favorite takeout restaurant and what I order there. Can I get the pineapple chicken and the spring rolls? My fortune.